Greetings, you guys. I hope everybody's doing okay. Hope you guys can hear me. Obviously, I'm at the beach still. It's about to be sunset, so it's really beautiful out here. So I thought I'd share this beautiful view with you. But yeah, so let's get it. So I wanted to share this message with you guys. I don't know how long it's going to be, so I wanted to just live stream it private because I don't know if it's going to upload and take forever or whatever. So just wanted to do it like this. So I was out and about yesterday and I came across this building which was really interesting. Like, you know how some churches, they're not like in traditional like cathedrals or like traditional churches. Sometimes they'll be like in plazas, like small churches, right? So I passed by this plaza and I see a church called Ministry of Reconciliation. It just spoke to me. It stood out. And then on the side of the building, they had 1 Corinthians 5 and 18. And you can read that for yourself, but I just was drawn to the Ministry of Reconciliation. Look at her. She cute. Her hat. Anywho, okay, so I heard God say this. God is in the business of reconciling hearts and healing the hearts. So what I got was that, so if you put it in this perspective, when something is torn apart or separated, it causes a tear, right? Or in other words, physically, it can cause a wound or trauma to that particular part in the body, whatever part has been torn or separated, right? So therefore, naturally, the process of healing would start to take place, right? Anytime there's a wound or a scar, it's starting its process of healing. So the process begins with the cleansing, right? So like, let's say when we get a cut or something, right? We have to do what? Clean it with some type of like alcohol or what do you call it? Peroxide. I can't even think of it off the top of my head. But that process that begins the cleansing with the wound of the wound of any bacteria, right? So you want to prevent bacteria from getting in your wounds. So that would otherwise cause infection. So if you look at it from a perspective of trauma and wounding, if it's not taken care of, it becomes a bacteria. It becomes a thing that lingers and it starts to affect you negatively, right? So also after the cleansing, you do what? You take you add anointment, right? Or ointment as they call it, to the wound, right? The little jelly stuff. So if you look up what the word oint means, O-I-N-T, it comes from the word, it's influenced by the Latin word oint, absolute, oint, or something like that, which is another word for anoint. In French, it also comes from the word oh my god, I'm not good at French, so I'm not even going to do that. O-I-N-D-R-E, which is also the meaning of anoint. So to anoint something, in one description, it is to smear or rub oil on you, mainly or usually during a religious ceremony, right? So biblically speaking, to anoint is to consecrate or make sacred in a ceremony that includes the token applying of oil. Okay, so you know how like in some churches you anoint people with olive oil, right? Or holy water, whatever, water that has been blessed. So that is with the intent to dedicate to the service of God. So what I got from all of this is that, what if the tearing, aka separation, for some of you that are in separations, whether that be with family, whether that be friends, love, romantic partner, right? What if that tearing, aka separation, was due to a much needed spiritual surgery, right? Like, look at it this way. Look at the heavens as the entire hospital, right? And God as the surgeon, and the rest of the nurses or team, etc., in the surgery room as your divine team, right? So God is reconciling. I'm going to use the word concealing, and sealing the hearts of many, sealing hearts back together. The word reconcile comes from the Latin root word reconciliar, or reback, and also the word conciliar, which means bringing together. To conceal something means to hide or to keep it out of sight, right? Some divine separations require one to be in the process of healing. So when God causes separation, it's a divine purpose behind it, right? Whether it's for protection, whether it's for healing, whether it's for learning, whether it's for further process of some sort, right? A much needed process. So some divine separations do require one to be hidden so that they can complete their healing process, okay? To prevent spilling out our wounds onto others or onto each other. The word seal means a device or a substance that is used to join two things together as to prevent them from coming apart or to prevent anything from passing in between them. Catch that? The second description of seal is to fasten and to secure something, okay? I was also guided to look up the word ministry. Obviously, we know what ministry means on a mundane level, right? It is a spiritual office of authority, but it also represents a servitude of what others need. So, one of those duties of ministry is to be of service to others and to pour into others in the way they need, to speak into the deep parts, the hidden parts of a person, right? That's what I got from that. So God is ministering to you, ministering to, is this a separation? What do you want to call it? Divine spirit, whatever, source, universe, whatever. The creator, mighty source of all things, is sealing things back together, is mending the hearts individually and of those separate, where there is a divine separation. Hopefully that makes sense. So God causes divine separation essentially in order to begin the process of extracting any gunk from the heart that essentially is blocking the flow of love and causing division. Okay, so this spiritual surgery was needed, or for the sole purpose or sole premise of prepping you for a divine purpose and an assignment, right? So whether that be for the greater good, not just yourself or a partner or a family or a friend or whatever this separation is, but on a grander scale, and I'll get into that in a second. But the service here, or the purpose and the assignment, the service, purpose, and assignment is love. To be love, to carry love, to walk fully in love, and to be in love. Love effectively and purely without fear. That is what God gave me to write down. So God is bringing people together for the sake of love, and God made me write it in capital letters, L-O-V-E, love. Never to separate again. And God gave me the scripture, what God joins together, let no man separate. So this reconciliation was needed for healing and consecration, to anoint and to prep for a greater purpose, greater assignment. And love is that assignment. How you walk in that, how you carry that, is your own blueprint. It's unique to you, however God uses you. I passed by a few billboards that stood out to me on Sunday, and I was led to note them down. These 3 billboards that stood out to me, they all came within a span of a short span of time within one another. The first sign that I said, or that I seen, was called "Born for This." That's what it said on the billboard, "Born for This." The second one said "Next Generation" or "Next Gen." It's actually "Next Gen." And then the third one was "Evolve Cannabis," and it was spelled, Evolve was spelled kind of weird. The word evolve itself, the word love is hidden within the word evolve, if you see it, right? Evolve, by definition, means to develop and progress something. So what God gave me was, this next generation's progression and development of the planet and humanity must come from love. It must come from love. We were born and called for a time such as this, Spirit said, which is a scripture from Esther. The book of Esther. Some may complete a major task or be called to change history through divine partnerships, whether that be romantic and or platonic divine partnerships. Spirit says two are sometimes better off rather than one. Like Queen Esther, she was brought into the palace by winning the favor and love of a king of a completely different nationality and religion from her. Yet she was able to use her position as queen to courageously request the vindication of her people. Okay? God also said they are unsettled with division and discord. There is much division, God says. By design, of course, by assignment through the wicked. When I saw the word cannabis, the cannabis portion on that billboard that I saw, I got the hippie movement. I heard hippie movement, which was a time and an era that was revolutionary for many, coming together, kind of a peace and freedom like energy. So there may be a resurgence of that era in a much more evolved, larger, and permanent scale. I got, because the truth is that humanity craves and desires togetherness. That's just a natural given thing. You know, God says it's not good for man to be alone, so that natural desire to be one with others, to want to be in love or to have love, to share love amongst others, that is a divine birthright. That is natural to you. That is the seed that's inside of each and every one of us. It's natural to want that. We've been taught that it is weak, or it is needy, it is unhealthy, and it can be if it's on that darker side of things, but the desire itself is not wicked, it's not bad. So God doesn't like us to be separate from God. Source doesn't like us to be separate from them, nor does God like us to be separate from one another as a humanity. So one of our God-given birthright was to, in quote, to be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it and have dominion over every living thing upon the earth. Okay? So love is the ministry. For some of you, that is literal. Like, you might go into service with a group of people that are divine partnerships for you, romantic or platonic. And like I said, these relationships, they may come in crazy situations and forms and, you know, differences, but it's meant to speak to the people, to the inner parts of others without speaking sometimes. The ministry doesn't have to be that you work in a church or you're doing evangelism or anything. Like, a ministry, again, is your service to others. What is your service to others? How do you give to those in need? And giving to those in need doesn't always have to be donating money and food and all of that. And that could be very well part of those things. Those things are services from the heart in love. But to be of service to others in other ways, there's so many vast formats, and our journeys and our purposes and the blueprint of our lives are all unique. So I pray that this message reaches you well, it makes sense to you, and it wasn't doing too much. This is a beautiful setting. Like, it's just so beautiful. Like, it's not capturing the actual visual, like how I see it in my mind, like with my physical 2 eyes, but it's beautiful. And I send you guys much love as always. Be blessed, be safe, take care, peace.